Hi, my name's Mark Rossiter from Fast Canberra. I'm a coach and athlete, and I'm based in Chisholm in ACT, Australia. What I'm wanting to do is just introduce myself. I run my gym from my house, and I am primarily targeting people wanting to be athletes. Doesn't matter what level of athlete you're at, as long as you have a goal. So if your goal is realistic and you want to get into a particular squad, and we can go through the time frames, what's required, and if it's for you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try and promise the world if it's not something that you're ready for, or give you unrealistic time frames. My background is in field sports, track sports, and competitive bodybuilding, competitive modelling. So in 2005, I was top 4 adrenaline sports model in Australia. Competitive bodybuilding, I did that for 5 years, where my highest ranking was 3rd in Australia middleweight, where I also qualified for Natural Olympia. In athletics, I've done athletics since I was 6 years of age. I still do athletics now as a 40-year-old master, where I compete in both opens and in professional athletics in the New South Wales Athletics League. My life has had some ups and downs, where basically, as I originally wanted to be a professional soccer player. I had the opportunity to go over to America on a scholarship when I was 21. The first time I was meant to go, I got glandular fever, and so that stopped it that year. The second year, I actually had my shin snapped in half by somebody during a game when I didn't know I was coming. So that put me out for a year and a half before I could even run again, let alone play soccer again. So that basically ended that. That was where I had to change my whole life plan and realise that you can't just concentrate on this sport. So anybody who comes through me, I do have a full idea of what goes wrong and the injuries that can occur and be complete life changes. So I try to get people to have an even balance. I don't just push sport is your number one. Your number one is you need to make an income. Sport is a way of making that, but if sport doesn't succeed, that you need to make sure that you have the education and skills to be able to do something else. Along the way, I have had injuries. They've all been in actual competition. I've never ever injured myself training. I've torn my left quad from my hip to my knee 80% of the way through in depth during a sprint race a few years ago, accelerating out of the blocks. It's essentially my quad internally exploded, which was interesting. I couldn't stand up. And then I also had it where I've done something as simple as bump my right quad, where I thought it was just a cork thigh. It turned out I'd actually taken a layer of muscle off my leg. As far as preparation for races, one time I was racing and I was running late for a race. I jumped out of the car, ran on the track, and thought I was good to go. That wasn't the right thing to do. I ended up tearing off both my semimembranosus and my gracilis at exactly the same time. So those two parts actually go down the back of your hamstring and help support the inside of your knee. So when I tore that off when I was in a stride, so I had my leg up here, my leg actually went floppy on me. I lost all control of my leg and then had to somehow drive 5 hours home with my hamstring completely torn off, which was fun. Luckily for that, it naturally reattached itself slightly to the side, and I was able to rehab myself through that. I've also done some Achilles issues, which was mainly due to sciatica. Once again, I got that during a race, during a tight bend. Somehow my nerve got impinged in my hip whilst coming around a tight bend, and that was a 2-week period of where it went from fine to tighter and tighter and tighter until one morning I just collapsed when I got out of bed because I could no longer feel my leg. and then that was roughly about 6 months before I was back up and going. So as far as knowing realistic time frames for injuries, I definitely can provide advice for that and know what I'm talking about. And in the meantime, what I will hope for is that we don't get any injuries and I can progress you to where you need to be. Thanks.